Hey guys, Old Guy Gaming here, back again with another game review for the Atari 2600, and today we're going to be doing Berserk. So this game has a bit of a history. Like a lot of games for the 2600, this was an arcade port over to the 2600. So it was originally developed for the arcades in 1980 by Stern Electronics and was designed by Alan McNeil. So like a lot of the console systems at the time, they were ported over, and eventually this one made it into Atari 2600 owners' hands in 1982. So this game is one of my favorite games. It has a bit of a story, so we're going to go into a little bit of Atari 2600 story time here for a moment. So, because I feel it's important to get an idea of what's going on in the game. So I'm just going to read directly from the game, man. The astral date is 3200, and you are the last survivor of a small group of Earth people who came to explore the planet Mazon. Soon after landing, you discover that the planet is a dark and apparently uninhabitable place. But by then, it was too late to turn back because your spacecraft had been destroyed by the Mazons. You are now a prisoner here. You are trapped in a maze where even the walls are death to touch. Grim robot thugs known as Mazons stalk you relentlessly, and you must systematically pulverize them with your laser gun before they eliminate you with theirs. You are never safe on the planet Mazon, even when you destroyed all the mechanical heavies. Evil Otto, the mad and merciless mind behind the robot gangs, leaps out from where he's been observing the battle. You flee in panic because you know that you cannot kill Evil Otto, and that once he catches you, you'll never escape. He will pound you into a lifeless pulp, grinning maniacally all the while. Your only hope is to get out of the electrified maze before Evil Otto catches you. If you do get out, you find yourself in another maze. Again, the faceless robots shoot at you. Again, Evil Otto pursues you. And again, you must dodge, shoot, and run into another maze. It's enough to drive you bonkers. And the whole title for this one was Going Bonkers with Berserk. So it encompasses the entire game. Basically, as you're seeing in some of the gameplay up here, you travel through a course of mazes with several different robots that are in the game. You can fire in 8 individual directions, and the objective, of course, is to kill all the robots without getting shot and get off the board before Evil Otto comes along. So it is important to note, of course, all of the walls are electrified, and it makes one of the classic Atari 2600 sounds when you either get shot or get hit by or touch the walls. It's fantastic. It's one of the reasons why I love the game, to be perfectly honest with you. So at this point, I'm going to bring up the game menu here, because there are several different games. There are 9 versions of the game on here, and one of the interesting parts, which I'll drop in here real quick, is there's a children's version of this game, which is game 12. They recognize that the game is relatively difficult, so they designed a lot of games that were ported over for the Atari 2600 with children in mind. So they have a children's only level where the robots don't shoot in that level and Evil Otto doesn't show up. But there are different variations on a theme as far as this one's concerned. Game 2 is where Evil Otto comes into the game, but you can actually shoot him to put him at bay, which is kind of silly. The true versions of the game, in my opinion, are Game 6 and Games 3, 6, and 9, which are the ones where Evil Otto cannot be killed, and it basically varies in the amount of points that it's going to take to generate a new life in the game. So a little bit more on the history on this game. The world records on this one by Twin Galaxies is a little tough to follow, to be perfectly honest with you, because there's so many records that they keep in there. Because it is an arcade style third person shooter, way before Fortnite came along, just so you're aware, kids. Very similar. So they basically set the records up to on Twin Galaxies based on the game that you're playing and the scores and some criteria. So for example, the first record we're going to be looking at is on game 9, which is the hardest version of the game. They put a 15-minute time limit. So how many points can you score in 15 minutes? This name's going to come up quite a bit because his name is littered all over the Berserk record books. But Steve, and I apologize ahead of time, Steve, if I'm going to mispronounce this. It's Germischwaschen, I believe is how you pronounce his name, with 31,030 points in 15 minutes on game level 9, which is insane. They also have an overall for game 9 in points, and Steve also holds that record at 79,330 points. Then they go down to game 1, which is one of the easier ones. There's no evil Otto in that one, but the robots still shoot. Christian Lee Kellebeck has the record for this one at 1,057,940 points. That is insane. Steve is back for game 6 with 419,650 points. And the last ones of these are all emulated games. Now, I don't know how everyone feels about emulation game records. I'm not a huge fan. The only other one I will take note of is there is a PAL version, which is the European version. John Eden currently holds the record for that one in game 1 at 502,700 points. I want to give the man his full credit. There's even a second page. It's one of the weird records that I've seen on this one. So there, most of these are the PAL versions. You can start getting into game 3, where Christian Lee Kellebeck holds the record for that one as well, and that is going to be 961,710 points. There's oodles. There's also this other one I remember seeing that there was like a variation score on how good the players are. Long story short, there's a lot of different ways to try to break records for this particular game. So I found that really fascinating. Like, there isn't just, hey, this is the world record holder for Berserk. There's so many different variations on who to do that one with. So, that's the overall one. This one, I genuinely love this game. I've only ever, like, game 3 is like my baseline. That's where I start playing this game. So when we get into the gameplay here coming up in a bit, that's where I'm going to be getting into. The scoring on it is really simple. It's 50 points for a robot. Now, when I was a kid, I used to swear that based on the color of the robot was how many points it was. Has nothing to do with it. It's 50 points. 50 points for killing a robot. And if you kill all of the robots in a maze and then get out of the maze, you get a bonus 10 points for each robot in the game. Now, a couple of things of note, some fun facts in this one. There are Berserk purists that are not a fan of this port. And the main reason for it is because the arcade version had these really cool electronic voices. Whenever you'd exit a maze or whenever Evil Otto would come, you'd have Evil Otto would literally taunt you during the course of the game. And none of that is in the Atari 2600 version of it. So there is one from Atari Age. I know you can find it out there, where they basically put a sound chip in the same original cart that had all the electronic voices. I really want to get a hold of that one and try that out. I've never heard it. I never actually played the game in the arcade. This is the only version of Berserk I'd ever played in my entire life. So I saw other versions doing research for this video, what the original arcade game looked like. And one of the first things I took note, especially like in the 5200 version, the Atari 5200 version of Berserk, in the arcade version, there's a lot more robots on the board. And the mazes, like you'll find in the 2600 version, the mazes are relatively simple. You only have like 3 or 4 different variations on what the maze is going to look like. Whereas the mazes on the arcade versions in the 5200 version are a little bit more complex. It's not as easy getting out of the mazes. But again, like a lot of Atari games, this is an arcade style game, so there is no end. You can just keep playing until you die. So a great bundle of fun game. Highly recommend this one. I recommend this game for a couple of different reasons. If you're looking at purchasing original hardware and you want to check to see if the joysticks that you're buying work, plug in Berserk. Take Berserk with you, because it will give you the opportunity to literally go all 8 directions and fire the buttons to make sure that they all work. So it's a great testing game too. And so I have a couple of copies of this already, mostly for that purpose. So when I go to look at I am looking at trying to find a 6-switch, just because I want one. So I will be taking this game along just to test the controllers to make sure that they're working. So we're going to move on to the gameplay section, where I at least show how badly I can play an emulated version of Berserk, and then we'll go on to the rating system. Okay, so we're into the gameplay section of Berserk. Again, I don't know how you feel about emulation, but I do, of course, own my own physical copy, so I'm kind of okay with it. It makes it a lot easier for at least picking up better footage for you guys to see on the video. So we are going to start, of course, on level 3, because I want Evil Otto in the game, and away we go. So the first level is the easy level. This is the one that kind of warms you up. The robots here do not shoot, so I always feel like that's the teaser level. And then there we are. We almost got that first scenario where I'll be doing that a lot. Hitting into the walls is going to be the pain in the butt. And again, I hate doing it on this controller. I don't know what the full time frame is before Evil Otto comes in. There he is. Woohoo, clear it out. But he does eventually make it into the game, and I was hoping that robot was going to be kind enough to shoot one of his buddies for me. Uh-oh. There we go. Whew, that's how you do it, right there. And I've earned myself a new guy. Now, what I do know... I don't believe I just walked right into that. Oh, that's so frustrating. What I do know is I feel like the different colored robots have different speeds on their bullets. I'm going to have to give up on that one. So I always felt like certain robots were faster than others, and their speed sometimes is faster than yours. Walk into that for me. Oh, or I can walk into that one. Yeah, so when I look at scores, like guys that did like 1,000,000 points, like holy cow, that's insane. I don't know how someone pulled off 1,000,000 points on this one. No! I was going to say either he was going to get me or Otto was going to get me. One or the other. Oh. Oh. And it's over that quick. So we're going to go back. We're going back into this one. See, that's what I mean. That scenario right there, whenever you come into the game and they're just right on top of you and there's nothing you can do. Oh, there he is. I was just going to say, I was kind of curious if Otto shows up on the first level or not. See how slow that bullet is? Later robots in the game are much slow. Oh. Oh. Ah! He's a pain. Now, I think that's like the max amount of robots I've seen on a board for a while. I don't know how many that was. I'll see when I get the bonus, hopefully. No! Come on, Otto. No! Ah! I should have waited 1/10 of a second more. But yeah, the robots go through their multiple different... Like, again, these are multiple different colors. I always feel like they had... How can he sit that close to the wall? That's not fair. No! Ugh. I hate absolute... I don't know. I know there are some of you younger gamers that are preferring of the D-pad. Playing this game on a D-pad is so irritating. Oh, I feel like I should have gone up instead of down. This is that scenario I'm talking about, where you come into the game and you have a robot right on top of you. What do you do? Because if you push forward to point the weapon in that direction, you just end up walking into them. It's so irritating. Alright, let's clear these out. See, there we go. There's your 50 bonus points. All you have to do is get out of the room. The brown ones. I don't know if you ever see the brown ones again. Oh. Curse of the D-pad. There we go. Go away. Sometimes you get funny little scenarios like... So there's a spot. I've seen this happen a couple of times. I'm hoping to see if I can get it to happen. Well, I'm not going to try. But there's a spot where the pixels between your head and your body split. And I saw my son the other day actually get a bullet to go through his neck. No! No. Is this you can get... Oh, so close. So close. So you can have weird scenarios. One of the other things you can do is walk into a wall, and that's always fun. But your bullets can hit their bullets like that. And waste your time trying to kill those guys. But if you have the ones... let's see if I can pull this off. One of the interesting things you can pull... such a tough scenario. And I'm dead again. Alright, this is going to be the last one. I could sit down and play this for hours. Talking through it does not help. I love when they walk into walls and give me free points. Thank you. One of the other things, and I don't know... Like, it's interesting how they explain it in the manual... But I honestly think it's like a glitch that they just kind of went with. I'll have to show you. Whenever you shoot from the sides over here, you can actually get your bullets to bounce through. I'll see if I can pull it off. So if you stand over here, you can get your bullets to fire through, which I thought was always kind of cool. I felt like that was some kind of glitch, and they're like, yeah, just go with it. If that's not the case, if that was by design and that was actually in the arcade game, let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to know. Alright. So far, so good on this one. I think my favorite ones are the purple ones. Where are those guys at? Yeah, if there's a pattern to this, too, I'd love to know it. Nope, nope, nope. I'm going to have to let him go. I'd love to know the timing in which... Oh. Yeah. One of the other things, I don't think I mentioned, this is a little peek behind the curtain. I'll record all this at the same time. Berserk actually has a sequel called Frenzy, which I do believe came out on the 2600 as well, which I have never played and is on my list to try. Because I'd love to... Oh, they got into the blue ones. Because I've never seen... I'm curious as to what the sequel to this game is like. If it's more akin to the arcade version. I wonder if I can slow him down by going left and right. Can you slow him down? This is a dangerous situation because as soon as you walk into it, they've got you. So you're like, do I give up on that? Now these yellow ones here, these are not nice. Oh. Alright, so again, I could sit down and play this all night. I'm not going to do that for this review, so that is some gameplay of Berserk on the 2600. Oh, look at that. Evil Otto's dancing on my head. So, anyway, let's move on to close out the review, shall we? Okay, so that is a ton of fun. And this game's going to wreck relatively high scores based on that. So graphics at the time, I'm going to go ahead and give that a 4. Again, not blowing the doors off, but you can definitely see legs moving as the guy's running. I love, well, we'll get into that into gameplay here in a minute, but like the robots look like robots, and whenever they move, they don't look jerky, they don't look anything weird or blocky. They did a really good job. I know that a lot of people aren't a huge fan of this port of the game, but I always felt that this was a good one. The only thing I always felt was kind of weird was Evil Otto being the big smiley face bouncy ball, but that's what the arcade game looked like too, so I gotta stick it with that. Sound is pretty good. I love the gun sounds. Everything about this game is iconic to me. The sounds alone, and the sounds are what I remember the most. The sounds of the robots shooting, the little blip whenever they explode, but of course the iconic whenever you get hit in any way, shape, or form, the little bzz, like that. I love that. Love that. So I'm giving that a 4 in sound as well. Not the best, not the greatest sounds that ever came out of an Atari game, but pretty high up there. Gameplay, I'm going to go ahead and give this one a 3.5 as well. There are some weird little... There's some things that always drive me nuts about this game, and you'll probably have seen it in gameplay, but like one of the things that drives me crazy on this game is when you go from one maze to the other, and as soon as you enter the maze, there's a robot, and a millisecond after you enter the maze, a robot walks into you and dies. Like, that doesn't feel fair to me. So that's a little wonky. Now, it does get a bonus in the fact that you do have the 8-directional shooting, and the real trick to learning how to play this game well is getting that directional shooting down, because that's how you get your... Because the robots only shoot like left and right, up and down, so that's how you get your angles and get into there. So very well thought out game, very enjoyable. My only pet peeve, of course, is the you come into a game and then boom, you're immediately dead already. That having all been said, the fun factor on this one cranked way up. Great game. I can play this game for hours. I really can. So going to be giving that a 4.5 as well. And the replayability, because there is no end to the game. This is a great game for party games. Friends come over, hey, we're going to play some Atari 2600 tonight. This is one of the games that I would pull out because it's just oodles and oodles of fun, and see who can set the high scores. So grand total, that comes out to a rating of 4.1 for the total overall score. And again, one of the best titles on the console. So I do hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments down below your thoughts on Berserk, or if there is another game that you would like me to review, let me know in the comments down below. I'd be happy to go out and try to find them if I can. Try to lay off the expensive ones. Like, I'm not going out and getting... Because my requirements, in case you don't know, is I need to physically own a copy of the game, and while I'm recording emulation for ease of video capture for here, I am not I'm not going to like, I want the physical copies. I want to be able to physically play it on my 2600. So like, I'm not going to go and spend $180 on a copy of Waterworld, or yeah. So try to keep them reasonable if at all possible. So anyway, do hope you liked the video. Like, subscribe, always helps out the channel, and let me know if there's a game that you would like me to review. Until next video, guys, always keep your cards clean.